everyone, and welcome to Packing Up and Moving to Canada 101. Today's episode is called The Rundown with Natalie Ferguson. And my special guest today is none other than Shaun Gordon. Welcome, Shaun.
Thanks for having me.
So, Shaun, how long have you been in Canada?
I've been in Canada 5 years now.
And prior to moving to Canada, you were in the military back home in Jamaica, right? Are you currently in the military here in Canada as well?
No military here.
What field are you in?
Well, I'm doing a continuation like what I did in the military. So I'm an aircraft engineer now. I work on aircrafts. And that's what I was doing back in Jamaica while in the military.
Oh, so you weren't necessarily running up and down, bang, bang, bang with guns. It was more aircraft engineering work.
No, I wouldn't say that. A little of everything. My first 2.5 years was on the road, and then the remainder of because I actually did 12 years.
Wow.
So the remainder of 9.5 years was being an aircraft mechanic.
Okay, nice. But no, you are no longer in the military. Where are you currently employed?
Okay, I'm presently employed at Wright International. It's a small company, but it's based close to the airport. So basically my office is located off the airport, but I work inside the airport, where I mostly maintain FedEx fleets.
Okay. Big thing, Tapanaris, as my mother would say, Tapanaris. All right. So what was your first year in Canada like? Walk me through that first year as a Canadian immigrant.
Well, the first year was tough. When I just got here, to be in the military for 12 years and then just to get up and leave and come to Canada, it was tough at first because I had to hit the ground running because I know I had my family back home to take care of, so I had to hit the ground running. So basically, I came in March of 2015, and that's the middle of winter.
Yes.
And Canada winter is very harsh. At one point, right, I had to walk actually about 20 kilometers.
Wow.
Just to meet my friend for him to take me to work. My hours of work was 5:45 in the morning, right? And there was no bus running at that time. So I had to walk in the mornings.
Wow.
Just to meet my friend for him to take me to work.
Wow. And just to give you some context, guys, when you're talking about March in Canada, and we're in Ontario here, so you know that in Alberta and Saskatchewan, it's even worse. But for us, it can go up to -30, -32, right? And we're talking Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So that's super cold, right? So you had to be doing this because, of course, you had your wife and children back home, right? So it wasn't easy, as you said, because one, the commute was terrible based on your hours of work.
Yes.
What type of job or jobs were you doing at that time?
At that time, I was working at Canadian Tire. I was basically loading trailers for 10 hours. Very tough. At times when I came home, I just came from work and just went straight to bed. And that's how tired I was.
Wow. So you only had one job at the time?
One job at a time.
Wow.
So basically I worked there for 2 months. Initially I got a job working for a landing gear company, which it's sort of in my field, but not what I really wanted.
Okay.
But it's just a stepping stone of things to come.
Wow. Guys, I hope you've been enjoying Shaun's story so far, and I just want to encourage you to support me by purchasing a copy of my book, Packing Up and Moving to Canada 101. It's available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle options. So I'm getting the impression from you that you had to go through a number of steps. You started off doing something that was outside of your field altogether with Canadian Tire. Then you moved on to a company that your role there was somewhat in your field, but it wasn't really what you wanted to do. How did you get into your current role now? How did you eventually transition here in your field?
I would say that it took some time because I had to get Canadian qualified in order to work on their type of aircraft. I already started the process in Jamaica, but I studied in Jamaica. I had my FAA license and I had my JCAA license. You can work in Jamaica with that license. But coming to Canada now, you have to have their certification in order to make that step. And that process took some time. There was a lot of obstacles that I was faced with. First obstacle that I was faced with was working long hours, and I had to be studying at the same time. And I was wondering, how do I balance this?
Right.
And the fact that I had no support, it was just me in a basement, right, trying to get things done. Second obstacle was when I applied in order to do the exams, right, I was met with somewhat of a pushback because I thought my experience that I had in Jamaica would have counted.
Oh.
But it was not.
Not the case.
It was not the case. So basically, I had a logbook with all my experience, with all the work that I did, right?
Right.
When I went to the inspector to have him approve it, he said that they don't use this type of format. So I had to download some form from off Canada site, and then I had to get that form signed. So all my work that I did back home,
Right.
I had to put that all on that form, have my friends back home that are licensed sign it.
Okay.
Then I had to bring it back for them to approve it. I was told I had to do some exams.
Okay. Did you have to pay for these exams?
Yes, I had to pay for these exams.
And we're not talking about any baby money. I'm sure it was at least probably a couple of $100s.
Yeah, it was a couple of $100s. Not that expensive. The exams were about $50 each.
Okay.
But there was one particular exam that cost over $100.
Oh.
So that process took me almost 2 years.
Wow. So in order for you to have gotten into your field that you've already been experienced at doing for the majority of your time in the military, because I believe you worked in that field in the military for at least 10 years. So it wasn't a case where you had only a year experience, 2 years, but you still had to go through such a lengthy process here, all because you're coming from outside of Canada. And that's one thing we want to make sure that you get. Experience outside of Canada, it's normally very hard for you to get it to count. Yes, sometimes it counts, but there's a process that you have to go through. And for you, that was a very tedious process, having to do it in a very different way. Yes, you would go out of your way to get it done their way, but it really was obviously expensive as well as time consuming. You mentioned something else too before. I think you were talking before about the first thing in terms of the support, because you were living in a basement at the time. It's not like you'd have had, certain resources at your disposal. And that was something that really resonated with me, because I found also that when you grew up in Canada, your parents are here, the process for you to go out is normally much easier than for somebody coming in and just starting over from scratch and really having to struggle. Would you say that you had a struggle, or was it just something that was just very easy for you to just do all of these things? Because I could not wake up and be at work at 5:30 in the morning in the dead of winter. Like, I could not.
It was a struggle. When it comes to a country like Canada, right, there's lots of opportunity, right? And you come with that mindset that you're gonna achieve, right? So even though it was a struggle, I had my goals and I had my plan, and I knew how to execute it, and that's how I'm here right now.
Right, because you had your wife and your children back home, and especially during the winter months, right, for those initial years that you were here on your own. For me, I struggle a lot during winter, right, because I think for me, I seem to struggle with seasonal affective disorder. I think it's called SAD. And so that imbalance where I don't have sufficient vitamin D, which is the sunshine vitamin, and I just get really depressed and feel really alone. I know it may not happen to everyone, but for you, especially in those winter months, those lonely months that you didn't have your family here, it's not like you had a lot of friends or so on. How did you cope?
Well, I cope by just working my ass off, you know, working my ass off, because you know what, I knew what I wanted, right? So I just use work as a distraction in order to get through this.
Did you have a lot of friends or family here, though, like who would have been able to give you any kind of support?
Yes, I have my cousins here. They really supported me through these times. My church community really supported me through time of difficulties.
And which church is that?
New Life Covenant Center.
We got my church. Well, I can definitely say that having family and having a church community or whatever you affiliate with, if it's some kind of society or whatever it is, to really help you occupy your time and find some kind of purpose, that will definitely help you. Now, another thing though I'll have to point out is that Shaun, within these 5 short years, Shaun has already purchased his first home. I wouldn't have said a little dolly house home, okay? We're talking nice, clean, good up, expensive house, stay good house, okay? So Shaun, how did you accomplish this? Give me some advice here. How can I achieve that goal?
Like I said, hard work. I mean,
3 jobs, 4? What can I realistically do?
I was doing multiple jobs, right? But through these different avenues, working these jobs, I was able to, save some money, invest some money. I'm not in the name brand stuff.
Okay.
Because
so you say I have to put on my little Tory Burch, my little Bridget's and all of these things. No Gucci, none of those stuff, okay?
But at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted, right? And every year I set certain goals. It's that goal that I set that allow me to really persevere in these things.
And that's so awesome. That is just so awesome. So I'm glad that from you, Safar, and I know this is just the tip of the iceberg for you, because Shaun has not gotten into what the other years were like, and we don't need to get into all of that today, because in the interest of time, we're just gonna leave it there. But my last question for you, Shaun, for someone who is watching right now, and I want you to look at the camera and talk to that person here, right? Let's imagine a young man in your situation having to leave his family back home, wherever home is, to come here and start, but with big dreams, no, bag of family and friends here, just a lot of big goals and dreams. What kind of advice do you have for that person right now?
Anybody that is coming to Canada, first and foremost, Canada is a beautiful country.
Except in the winter.
You know what? Once you come here and you know what you want, right? The sky's the limit, right? All I can say is come with an open mind, right? You may struggle at first, like I did, but that didn't stop me. But at the end of the day, come with an open mind, right? Work hard, right? Through the winter, right? I must say winter because I must stress on the winter.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hard work. Just put in the work and you'll get the results.
Yes. Well, based on what he's saying too, hard work and a lot of savings, right? Hard work and a lot of savings. But it's important that we listen to the good and the bad, because of course, based on what Shaun was sharing with us today, he came here without his family. He was on his own, having to struggle in the dead of winter to get to work without having a car, basically walking 20 kilometers each morning. Can you imagine the time if he had to get to work at 5:30 a.m. to meet his friend, to get a ride to work, right? Not having his family, not having, let's say, the most comfortable living situation at that time, right? But He was able to get multiple jobs, get his certifications in hand, and then look at him now. His family is here, and already he has his own home. And we are talking good town house and so nice, lovely upscale area. We're not talking dolly house. You know what I mean? Anyways, it was my pleasure having you today, Shaun. If we need a part 2, we know that we can call him. But this is just Shaun's story in a nutshell, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Of course, stop. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I post new content, and make sure hit the like button. Okay? Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.